Okay. Hello. Um, I was expecting it to start streaming immediately. I haven't done this in a long time. 1 second. My hair is a fucking mess. Let's try to pull up the. All right, I am going to go fill up my cup of coffee because I didn't think that the live stream was going to start immediately. I'll put it here. Okay. I'll be right back. the cup of coffee right here. Got my toast. Okay. So how are you guys doing? I'm gonna try and get this up here where I can see like this. Yeah. Um, howdy do. It's been a long ass time since we've done this. Um, got this goofy ass Godzilla beanie on. Um, my sister and her lovely boyfriend Nate um, both bought this for me. It's very cute. I like it. I'm about to answer you guys' questions in just a second because that's the whole point of this is just they catch up. Um, I feel like shit. I've had a rough couple of days. Like right after that last Kiki and Coffee episode was recorded, which was recorded on Sunday. I released it on Monday. I got horribly sick. I threw up like 5 times. Yesterday I didn't throw up, but I felt really cold and shivery and just like. And this morning I'm doing still better than that first day, but very cold and uncomfortable and not necessarily nauseous, but my stomach doesn't feel happy with me. So that's where I'm at. It's like the disheveled look. That's kind of the story here. We got this cute little flower, or not flower. It's a plant. I actually don't know what kind of plant it is. My sister bought it for me the other day. Actually, it might have been both of them, both Mandy and Nate. I had some personal life stuff going on that was really affecting me, and she went out of her way, and Nate might have gone with her to get this for me, and they got me some cheesecake slices. It was really sweet of them. So big shout out to them. Today I'm using the Egyptian mug again, mostly because I don't really like making excess dishes. I like to reuse my mugs a few times, and technically I've only used this one that one time. I cleaned it out after I drank it, or rinsed it out after I drank it, but I only used it for that Kiki and Coffee episode, and then I got sick and couldn't even keep water down, so definitely didn't have any coffee. So there's the first sip of coffee in like 3 or 4 days. And I have some toast because toast is very inoffensive to the stomach. I also have some Gatorade so I can actually get some electrolytes and some more proper hydration back. So anyways, let's see what we got going on here. How are you guys doing? The main purpose of this video was I wanted to get into the swing of things really quickly. I plan on both doing Kiki and Coffee, which we can talk a little bit more about my thought process behind that later if you guys are interested. But I wanted to do that, and then I wanted to bring back live streams, and I wanted to kind of like streamline everything and make it all kind of a little bit more consistent, a little bit just like really get a focus on the style that I want to hone into, and so I wanted to keep the live streams in the vein of Kiki and Coffee, so that's what we're trying. My webcam is fucking atrocious, I can tell. The overexposure. I need to get a new webcam anyway, so this might be the final thing to just motivates me to do it. So maybe even by the time that we stream next, you'll have a better webcam to look at me with. But let's see what your guys' questions are, because I really wanted another multifunction of like not only just getting into the swing of this quickly and getting the live streams going, is that I was making that first Kiki and Coffee episode, and I want them to be more chatty, a little bit more like somewhere between like the normal videos I used to do and a podcast, where I can just talk, kind of just chat, talk about whatever I want. And as I was doing that in that first episode, I was fine with it being really chatty, but I was constantly hitting running into things where I was like, oh my god, like it's been like 4 years, 5 years since I've been really active on YouTube. They have like no idea about this, or they have no idea about that. They have no idea that this went through my head, or like that I went through this development, or blah blah. So like, there's just so much to catch up on. I just feel like the live stream is going to be the best way to kind of answer your guys' most direct questions and just kind of naturally bring about that spontaneous kind of catching up vibe. And also, I really just miss the interaction with you guys in the community. So, um, there's a lot of very familiar faces on here. I recognize. We got Alex Webb. We got Raptor Attack. We got Max Luckhurst, and LBT Electric Dino 75. You might be somebody I recognize. I don't recognize that username. I don't know if you changed your username. There's my brother. Okay, so hey man, long time no see. Have you seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse yet? And if so, what are your thoughts? I have seen it. I saw that one in theaters. I did not see Into the Spider-Verse in theaters. I saw that one when it came out on like the home release, and I really liked that first one. I really liked it a lot. I would rate it like a 9 out of 10. I was so hyped up about it, and everybody was praising it so much that I think it was kind of um, overhyped for me, and it may have like kind of spoiled my experience. I haven't gone back and watched it since, so maybe I'd warm up to it a little bit. But I do have some genuine criticisms of that movie that I didn't really love. I didn't feel like it was quite as good as people were saying it to be. Maybe I'm being a little harsh on it because everybody was like literally calling it perfect, and I don't think it's perfect. But it's like it's right. It's such a good movie. It's just got a few like nitpick things and things that I think are objectively inferior to other Spider-Man movies, especially on the villain department. I think the villain department in Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse is like very weak in the roster of Spider-Man villains in the movies, but that's not really saying it's bad. That's just like we've had so many good Spider-Man villains in the movies that it's like if you don't like really hit it off, you're gonna fall a little short. But Across Spider-Verse, I cannot say the same thing. Across Spider-Verse, I would even rate it a 10 out of 10. I have like no complaints about that one. I mean, barring maybe that it's incomplete, but that's kind of the point. That movie was phenomenal, better than the first one, and I just love it. I think its conflict was so much more internally related to Miles than the first one. First one was it was like about the Spider-Man identity and a lot of stuff like that, and like, but the second one was so much more personal. Because like yeah, the Spider-Man identity is personal, but like there's always this extra layer that brings like the Peter part in to like Spider-Man's quarrel. Like so Peter and Spider-Man both have to deal with whatever issues it is at the same time. And you don't get as much of that. It's more of the Spider-Man. It's more of Miles wrestling to accept that he's Spider-Man, which is still it still works. Don't get me wrong. It's like still great, but it's not as compelling as anything that happens in Across the Spider-Verse. So I think Across the Spider-Verse was vastly superior, but I really like both of them, and I really love Across the Spider-Verse. What a nice chair. I know. It is. It's a beautiful chair. It's got pink. My mom got it for me for Christmas this year. I already had a really cute pink chair over there that I like. Pink's my favorite color. And but this one has like speakers built into the headrest. She knows I love listening to music, and it's a really nice chair. I honestly didn't really like these like leather kind of gaming chair styles, which is why I got like the pink mesh style because it's a little bit more breathy. But I have been thoroughly won over by this one. It's super super comfortable. Hello partner, cool stream going on, cool chair, love it. Cool dinosaur collection looks amazing. Thank you. It's been very curated over the years. As we currently stand, I am going through a little bit of a reform where I'm like kind of deciding to like maybe let go of some of my BOTM figures, but other than that, like everything I have on my shelf, I love. And like you can point to it, and I would love to talk about it, which is something I'm really proud about because it's not. That was one of the big things. I talked about it briefly in the video. I didn't like it when my collection seemed to get a little too close to the hoarding kind of stuff. But I also just like I'd bring like guests into my room, and when I had some of you guys might remember when I had those long white shelves in my room, and I had just like all Safari in one part and all Collecta and blah blah blah. like some people would like, relative friend or something like that would like point at a figure and they'd be like, oh, so what's up with this one? And I'd be like, that's just this. And I'd tell them what dinosaur was, and like, it's made by that company. It's a little inaccurate here, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's the most I could say about it. And I wasn't passionate about it, and it kind of sucked because it's my collection. I want people to walk in. I want to be able to point at anything, and I can be ecstatic. I want my face to glow when I talk about it. And I didn't feel like that was the case with my collection when it was like that. And there was always like a little struggle to try and fit in all these idiots that just didn't really make sense. I mean, there's also kind of a practical element to having that many figures around all the time because I was planning on making Mesozoic Isle in its entirety, and so having a bunch of extra figures was always useful because you had more things to use, more characters and whatnot. But I apologize, hitting the mic. But this is vastly superior. It makes me happier, in my opinion. It's superior in my opinion, and it makes me happier. Let's phrase it that way. That sounds awful. Get better soon. Oh. Thank you. I was wondering if you were talking about the mic for a second, but then I realized I was way back, probably when I was talking about my health. Hello, Max. Life definitely finds a way big time. Sorry about that, buddy. Me. Think that my brother Adley was just saying hi. I was due to go on my daily walk about town, but due to the occasion relaxing and doing this seems fitter. Well, thank you, Max. I appreciate you spending time with me. Hopefully I didn't, distract you from a really important walk. I hope that you get out and do it either tomorrow or someday soon. That's my take on Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Everyone hyped it up so much for me, and when I finally watched it, it felt pretty underwhelming to me. Also, what timeline have I fell back in a notification to Kiki Street? I know, right? Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that. Like, I personally am in the boat where I heard that Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was phenomenal, and then I watched it, and I was of the same opinion. I also found that Puss in Boots was just like, it was innovative in its own way. It wasn't innovative in the same way that like Spider-Verse was innovative in like the visual style, but like back to like story philosophy and like or movie or film philosophy, like and like what kind of demographic they're going for, because what was so special about the first Shrek movie was just how equally enjoyable it was to adults and children. And I know that Pixar always did a pretty decent job at that, but nobody did it as good as Shrek. Shrek just perfectly did it. They had the perfect balance of it. It was equally as enjoyable for both parties. And of course the second one was really good too, but they have not captured that feeling since Puss in Boots, or until Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. The humor was really funny. It felt fresh, even though like we've kind of been down a similar road with the first two Shreks. The animation was really nice. It definitely was inspired by Into the Spider-Verse, but it also felt like it had its own style. And it was just brutally it was a much tighter script, a more tightly written story than Into the Spider-Verse by a long. I mean, one of the nitpicky flaws that I have with Into the Spider-Verse was that it is bloated. Like it does do, actually, considering everything it has, it does do a pretty dang good job at keeping itself pretty tight. But it definitely doesn't need as many of the extra Spider-Verse characters. They do end up just adding fluff and stuff like that. And overall, I feel like they kind of end up feeling like things that just kind of don't go anywhere. And they're an over multiplication of like a internal conflict that they're trying to externalize for Miles to learn. And they kind of just overdo it just a little bit. I just don't feel like each of them had as much value as they could have or should have in a tighter script. And that's not really the same problem with Puss in Boots. You could kind of argue that it maybe slightly kind of goes that way with some of the villains. There's a number of like antagonists in that series, or in that movie. But I just think it's a really tight script. It's really like clean, and like its villain is super simplified, but does exactly what he needs to. I think it's like it's just one of those. I've not seen. Like, Spider-Verse is incredibly impressive in how much it ropes together and makes very cohesive. Puss in Boots is like closer to a minimalist story, and it's cool to see like a big budget like Hollywood movie actually going the minimalist route and really just effectively telling a good story and not trying to make it too big. I really appreciated that. I think it really stood out. I think that it was um, more innovative on the writing side of things than Spider-Verse is a little bit more innovative on the technical side of things. If that makes sense. Um, and I guess Puss in Boots isn't really innovative in writing, but it's like innovative against the trend. Let's say that. Hello, hello. What going on here? Just your boy being sick as shit. We've fallen into the Devonian. Yeah, because I just have a rock hard head. Let me see. May or may not have an entire list of questions on my other screen. I might have a problem though. I missed the bit about your health. Yeah, I just a couple days ago I got really sick. I also have like some personal stuff going on. It's been making it rough around me, but just got really sick and threw up like 5 times in one day, and I'm still kind of recovering from that. Um, Terrible things have happened. Next door cat is at war with my garden. Bear with me. Oh god. Yeah, that's you got to start putting some of those pea shooters out there. What did I miss? Not really much. Just trying to catch up with everybody. Um, it's kind of telling when it's innovative to go with something more simple in modern Hollywood. I know. Um, the most simple thing that modern Hollywood has gotten down in terms of storytelling is just don't give a shit. Make it bad. Um, yeah, it's just that is the unfortunateness of it. Okay, cool. So I actually caught up with the chat. So now we're actually waiting on new questions. Tyranno Rex 792. That I think you even have the same profile picture that I remember. I think I recognize you. I think you were like a newer viewer right before like I really kind of stopped. I think you were like showing up in like the last year. Yeah, hey dude. I recognize you. I think you were after the Dino Nation era, but I might be wrong. If I could have any company make any prehistoric animal into a figure, what would it be? Well, first off, I'm just going to answer this question in parts. If I could have any company, BOTM or Creative Beast, like it's not even a contest. I just don't have interest in other companies making figures that you like. Eofauna, I really love. I still love them a lot. I'm still really interested in what they're doing, but they're no longer even like my third choice. And like, not saying that there's a second choice. It's just like there's a gap. Like I'm just trying to illustrate there's a significant gap between my interest. I am so mostly interested in Beast Mesozoic, so or Creative Beast. So if I'm gonna ask if I want something from a company, it's gonna be that one. If I could have a company make any prehistoric animal into a figure, what would it be? So there's kind of a couple interesting directions I could go about answering this. I could answer this as which one do I want the most? Or like which one would I want to wish into existence the most, barring that like it might not happen on its own? Because like I really would love a Giganotosaurus, but I know that they're gonna make one, right? So like I don't really feel like I have much of a reason to wish that into existence because I know it's gonna happen. So are you more interested in like which one do I want the most, or which one do I maybe am I questioning that they might make but I would really like? Could you like specify for me which angle you'd rather me answer that question in? I was literally thinking it's Chow Yang-saurus. I keep calling it Chow Yangosaurus, but there's no O on it. What are your top 3 most hyped Cyberzoic releases from Kickstarter? I was gonna say thank you, David, for asking a question just to like kind of get me talking about stuff that they might not know about, but also I just don't really know if I've really talked to you about that particular thing in that particular order. I guess David, are you talking about just like or you said from the Kickstarter. So you mean the one that like, yeah, the current one that's coming up. Okay, Scrubwood Studios said either. Okay, well, to finish answering Scrubwood Studios' question first, okay, I'll give you a third answer, just to be kind of funny and kind of a dick at the same time. Like, by a dick, I mean, like, digging too deep into the question. Another Allosaurus. I would love another Allosaurus. I've currently kind of, I'll be honest with you guys, this is probably like the most embarrassing thing to admit about my Beast of the Mesozoic love is that I am currently tentatively planning on getting all 4 Allosaurus. Like both Jamadzini's, the Cyberzoic, and the Beast of the Mesozoic one, and both Fragiluses. Just because I love Allosaurus so much, that figure is like perfection. And I can't really choose. Like they're all so good, and I don't know. I might end up doing a cool display with a Stegosaurus and a couple of those guys. So let's do that one as kind of the dickish answer. But if we're gonna do just another species, let's say like one that I just want the most at the moment, that would have to be Giganotosaurus, because like a lot of my other favorite dinosaurs are already being made. I've got Triceratops up here. It's my favorite dinosaur. I have Eutyrannus up here, second favorite dinosaur. Actually, Allosaurus is probably my second favorite dinosaur at this point. But Eutyrannus has been my longest standing favorite dinosaur. So it's probably number 3. But either way, I've got those, right? So I think Giganotosaurus has to be the next one. And they've already confirmed that they're going to make a Giganotosaurus. It was on a live stream. David Silva confirmed that, yes, he intends on making it. He didn't really specify exactly when. Maybe he said for the second batch of Cyberzoic. I don't know. We have a resident Creative Beast employee over here. If that has been publicly confirmed, then he can verify that there. But if I remember correctly, if David Silva had confirmed exactly when it's going to come out, it's going to be like the second, like the next Kickstarter, or like, because there was like 3 he basically kind of talked upwards of, like the next 2. But anyways, if I gave also like a second best answer to Giganotosaurus would be Ankylosaurus. I love Ankylosaurus. Ankylosaurus is one of my favorite dinosaurs. And I would really love to see a Thyrophorian, in particular Ankylosaurus. So that would be a really hype one for me. One that I am less confident that is going to be made. I'm still semi-confident about this one, but I just have to say Dinokairos. I love Dinokairos. I would really love a Dinokairos figure. I don't know if that one has been completely. Oh, David's saying sorry. Repeat the question. I was saying that I know that David Silva talked about in one of the live streams that he does want to do a Giganotosaurus, and I think that if at best there may have been a time where he kind of said that he might be aiming to get the Giganotosaurus into like the second batch of Cyberzoic stuff, because he talked about like 3 different big like Kickstarter waves. And I think he was talking about the second one being where the Giganotosaurus would be, and then like I think Spinosaurus would be like 3 or something like that. I don't remember exactly. Like he was talking about how far out certain ones would be, and I don't remember if he's actually like confirmed any of that, or if he was just talking like about ballpark stuff. Yes, Giganotosaurus will probably be a Kickstarter Wave 3 with Spinosaurus. Okay. So it'd actually be Acros too. Yeah, that's what the thing. Because I remember hearing like 2 even back then, and I thought that didn't really quite add up because I thought Acro was going to be 2, but maybe he was saying like upwards of 2 or like something like Tashti. I don't know. But okay, so very far off. But Giganotosaurus is going to happen. That makes sense. But let's say Dinokairos is the next one. I would really love a Dinokairos figure. But other than that, let's say I'm sure he's going to do. We're going to do like aquatic life. So like Chronosaurus or like Ophthalmosaurus, some like any ichthyosaur. I'm really into ichthyosaurs as of right now. So let's go with that. Like pretty much any ichthyosaurus. Any ichthyosaur like Temnodontosaurus would be awesome. Ophthalmosaurus, those would be great ones. All right, let's try to catch up on some of the chat here. What are the top 3 most hyped Cyberzoic releases from the Kickstarter? The Allosaurus, the Arctic Dragon, and the Utah Raptor. the Utahraptor's probably the next one. I don't know. Like I'm finding the Utahraptor maybe just a tad more exciting than the Dilo, just because I've already like seen the BOTM one in hand, so it's a little more exciting because I still have not seen the Utahraptor body in hand, so that one's a little bit more exciting to me. I would say the Carno, but the Carno is the wrong paint scheme. I want the black and white one, so I think I'd be kind of lying if I said that one. I had to go do something, so if I already asked, I'm sorry. Oh, dang. So sorry, Alex Webb. I like totally gave you like a pretty in-depth answer about the Spider-Verse thing too. I'm just for the sake of not repeating myself and like, being a broken record for everybody else. I won't repeat it here. But yes, I really like it. I like it better than the first one. If you're interested in my more in-depth talk, it's like one of the first things I talk about in the live stream, so it should be pretty easy to go back and watch after it's done if you're really interested. But sorry, I don't want to repeat it again for everybody. I have a lot of questions here. Loving the onesie, since I can tell it's a Heisei one easily. Favorite incarnation. Yeah, I mean, that's an iconic incarnation. This is a beanie, actually. But yes. Are there any companies you have fallen out of love with? Papo doesn't count. It's Papo. You're funny. Safari. I think that's the most interesting one to answer your question with. I think there's a lot of I was never really in love with Schleich. Maybe when I was younger, I was in love with Papo. I was always interested in Papo, but say I was in love with Papo, it wouldn't even really matter anyways because you're saying it doesn't count. But Safari, I still really admire them in a lot of ways. I do, and it still meant the world that I got to be a part of #IWasFari. That was genuinely a little dream come true. And I still am really fond of their stuff, but their style is not something I'm interested in. Just plain and simple. Look, this is what I'm interested in, and it's not the same thing. I don't really like their quality consistency is a little off. Like some years are a little bit more consistent within themselves, but each year is not really consistent with each other anymore. And I don't know. I just I don't feel it anymore with them. And I'm not really. But I think I've also just kind of outgrown my love for that style. And just static figures in general, I'm just really not that interested anymore. I've really just gone down the action figure route. I still have static ones. We have a whole bunch of them over here that I'd love to talk to you about. I'll even angle the camera a little bit more towards them. Hopefully that's not too far. The stream's a little delayed here, but right, cool. Perfect. Wow, I did a great job without even knowing what it looked like. Go me. Give this idiot a clap in the chat. But yeah, I'd say Safari LTD. Excuse me. I remain the victor. The cat has fled, but so did the feeding starlings, which is in one sense I'm thankful for due to their will to decimate everything that's edible. Yeah, it makes sense. At least none of them got killed by the cat. Well, I guess then again they are invasive, so I guess that wouldn't be too bad of a loss. Yeah, waves 1 to 3. Yeah, okay, I already read that. Noted. I require a BOTM baryonyx. That would be pretty snazzy. I think I'd fucks with the baryonyx. Ever been to the dinosaur park in Bastrop, Texas? No. I haven't really been to Texas since I was 9. The second to last line of Bionicle figures is coming out when I went to Texas last. It was the second Galtorian wave, and it wasn't the Stars wasn't out yet. So it was right around then when I was last in Texas, and I don't really ever want to go back to particularly. I'm not really a fan of Texas or the people there, but I also have just relatives there that I'm not really a fan of. But there's what you would call it. There are some cool museums and stuff that I would like to go see there sometime. So maybe I don't know which this thing is you're talking about, but I really missed you, man. Oh, thank you. Speaking of Giganosaurus, do you still have the PNSO one? And have you saved any money on your heating bill by burning the paper it came with? That's funny. I don't know if that was I honestly just genuinely don't know if that was a joke I made about burning the paper, or if you're just like having a fun little rebuttal off of that. But either way, that's funny. I do still have it. It's right up here next to my Giganotosaurus Wonder Arts artistic models figure or model with my Wonder Artistic Models Giganotosaurus skeleton. Let's call it that. That dude. That stupid motherfucker right there. He's beautiful. But yeah, I have the little PNSO one right underneath him just because I really like pairing those guys together. So it's up there. The legend has returned. Wait, where is he? I must have missed him. Speaking on Triceratops being sick, the Isle Avrima is adding their Triceratops alongside their T-Rex, and contrary to Legacy, the Trike will actually be competent at Apex Combat, so W. Oh, I think you're talking about the Isle, the video game. Yeah. I bet that they are doing stuff with that game. A BOTM Dinocaurus is probably my most wished figure from them. I mean, come on. That thing's a fucking weirdo. It's like a duck Sasquatch from hell. Oh yes, Giganotosaurus will probably not be. Yeah, okay, I read that. I require an articulated Dinocaurus. Well, I'm glad you require it because so do I. Only soft confirmed ones so far are Kickstarter 2 and 3, Amargasaurus, Therizinosaurus, Giganotosaurus, and hard confirmed is Spinosaurus. Okay, so those Amargasaurus, Therizinosaurus, and Giganotosaurus were the ones that he was like being like, I want to do these ones. We'll see if we can get them in there. The only one that's hard confirmed is Spinosaurus. Okay, that's cool. That makes sense because Spinosaurus is like, out of all those, easily the most popular genus and would make them bank. I mean, they made so much goddamn money off of the Tyrannosaurus. Like the Tyrannosaurus alone funded like probably that Allosaurus, the BOTM Allosaurus, and a whole bunch of other shit. So it's a great idea to sell the one or make the ones that make a lot of money. And that's not discredit how much I'm interested in the Spinosaurus. I'm way more interested in the Spinosaurus than a Tyrannosaurus. So, and I think Tyrannosaurus is cool. But do you think you'll be going going alive again sometime soon? No, I plan to die. I'm just kidding. Sorry, it's a stupid joke. My humor is so like awful right now because I'm not very energetic. I'm not of strong will. Oh, okay, Taco Raptor Studios. Your name is one of those ones where it's like right on the cusp of being recognizable. I'm like, ooh, do I recognize that name or not? Did you have a different name back when I used to live stream? I definitely don't recognize the profile picture. Looks like Max Luckhurst is retracting some of his information. I know, David. I know what the Bionicle releases. Sorry, I hit the mic. The reason why I use it, like why it's so useful to me is because I just genuinely, like for so long, I would tell people different years. I'm like, I don't know, like 11, 12. I was like 8 or 7 or something like that. I was trying to like remember when I had been in Texas. But when you think about it, like the Bionicle years were so finite. And I like if I thought about like, oh, wait, was that year out yet? Okay, then I know that. And I also literally was collecting. I had my what's the dude who rode the Red Raptor? I forget what his name was. It's like Ferox or something like that. But that guy, I had the guy that rode the Red Raptor, and I brought him with me, and I brought Matanui with me to Texas. Pharaoh and Skirmax. Okay, that's what it is. Yeah. I always forget that guy's name. I feel like there's no set I ask you to tell me the name of more often than that one. I just need to remember it. Jesus fucking Christ. Here in England, they aren't at least. Oh yeah, I forgot you're in England. No shit. Yeah, okay. They're invasive here in the United States. I know the massive problems they cause in the U.S. of A. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot you were in England. Um, well, hello from across the pond. I hope I didn't insult you, but I am an asshole. um, I'm just being silly. Okay. I posted that question before you moved the camera. Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of a delay, and I'm also catching up to all the questions. Um, let's see. How much did Kappa affect your decision to stop MI? It would have had to have just been one of the final straws, really. Um, it's a significant weight, like the straw that broke the camel's back or whatever. Like it's not quite a straw. Like it would have taken a straw to break the camel's back. You know what I mean? But like it was like an anvil. It was overcompensation. So yeah, I'm sure that it was a it would have been a big deterrent. It would have been, but I was already like pretty damn close to that point. So it really didn't have to do that much. You know what I mean? Um, I'm excited to see the color scheme for the Spino. Yeah, I don't know. Like, Creative B Studio has been. I mean, they're always so fascinating with their color schemes, but uh, there's a couple that, and especially in recent times, that have really blown me away. Like the BOTM Dilophosaurus is really impressive. I love that the like there's so much like realism in the design of that animal. Like I don't know how much of it is intentional, but it's like it's got the cool crests which it could use like as a display structure and size up its opponents and stuff like that, but it's not um too vibrant to the point where it's going to give itself away if it needs to ambush something. But then if it needs to be, it's already clearly really interested in sexual display and stuff like that. If it needs to do something of that sort, then it can just open its mouth and you see all this blue, which it's not going to be showing that to its um, prey. So it still has this really beautiful, vibrant color that it can show off and use as sexual display or to intimidate rivals. But it's not like on its face where it's going to give itself away. It's just really intuitive. Like it was such a naturalistic and beautiful design. I really could have imagined something like that on Prehistoric Planet. I thought it was a really beautiful balance of those things, of being really vibrant and really attractive, but also being very effective as a predator. And I would really be curious if like what kind of like I don't necessarily think that it would go that exact route, or like even have that exact same mentality with Spinosaurus. I mean, Spinosaurus, quite frankly, is a little too big to be really actively considering ambush predation against anything that's going to be able to see it. I mean, if it's ambushing, things underwater, that's different, but you can hide yourself a lot easier if you're out of the water or if you're under the water. But like I'm really curious to see what kind of cool color palettes or maybe even like intuitive decisions might be made with that. It's a lot of weight to be put on you, especially for such a big species like that. So hopefully, we won't get something kind of like safe like the Tyrannosaurus. The Tyrannosaurus is really well executed, but is kind of like a safe color scheme. It's mostly just red. But then again, we also have a semi-decent idea of what colors Tyrannosaurus would have been. Like not actually which hues they would have been, but like, darkness levels and stuff like that. So, betting a considerable amount of money on the Spinosaurus colors being based on a species of basilisk. I don't believe I've ever mentioned the fact that I'm from England before, so your misunderstanding is righteous. Basilisk. I don't know how many different species of basilisk there are. I thought there was kind of just like one or two, to be honest, but that'd be a very on-brand decision to make. Yeah, I think nobody's really talking about the figures over there, so I'm just gonna try and like angle this back towards me. I don't believe I've ever mentioned. Wait, I already read that. Would you say that MI episode 3 would be better than the first two if it was done? It's got some exciting elements. I think it had a couple of pretty exciting scenes. There's a scene with a Utah raptor family and some Stratosaurus that I really like. Um, and the Triceratops herd scene. Um, there was some scenes I really liked. I don't know. Episode 2 is kind of like the exciting point because it's kind of the inciting incident for the. Well, it's not the inciting incident. It's like the immediate aftermath of the inciting incident. We get to see how the valley's being shook up. I don't know. I probably would have still preferred 2. Because Blue killing Hercules is always a good highlight. And then I'm pretty sure he takes out that Allosaurus at the end of that episode. Might be cool to have some water Ripley colors / patterns on the underside of the Spino inferring its wading swimming. Yeah, that would be really neat actually, because like just mixing it up like pattern wise and do something kind of cool, and like but like still kind of on brand for what it's doing. Recently got in the dialogue and the colors are incredibly interesting. It's by far one of, if not my favorite BOTM figures out right now. It's really cool. I pre-ordered the Cyberzoic one because I like the Cyberzoic one just a little bit more. But I'm really excited to get that one. There's a plant obscuring Bone Crusher, by the way. Oh, look at that. Look at Mr. Plant being a cock block. I mean, Mr. Plant needs his space on the shelf. I guess Bone Crusher, he's just gonna have to hide behind the bush. I'm definitely not biased, as is my second favorite. What is he talking about? Oh, Dilophosaurus. Is the type of raptor your favorite one? Just guessing based on it. Hey, Fossil Pharaoh, aka did you used to go by King Egypticus or something like that? I believe your real name's Camden. But I forget what you used to go by back then. I thought it was something different. Was it like King Egypticus or something like that? How are you doing, dude? And I guess I didn't even answer your question. I've been better at the moment. I've done a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of exciting things that I'm working on in my personal life, especially on the side of Torvis Packs, my music stuff. There's a lot of really cool, exciting developments that are going on right there. I'm really excited by how I released that album and quite a number of I'm not talking like 1 or 2. I'm talking like 3 doors have opened up into avenues, which I'm really excited about. And I'm really excited about just taking on those and doing stuff with them. So that's cool. My personal life, there's been we don't talk about King Egypticus. That's me. I'm doing good. Currently in my second year of film school. Oh, dude, rad. That's fucking awesome. Yeah, personal life is it's rocky at the moment. And I'm recovering from being sick as shit right now. Literally couldn't even ingest water on Monday. I was throwing up 5 times. But yeah. I know the plumed basilisk is one of everybody thinks about that is nearly turquoise greens, white speckles, blue lower jaw. Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. That one's a cool one. Did your favorite MI character appear in the released episodes? No. I've said this publicly before many times, but Kate, I don't know if she was always, but she's since writing that version of Mezuo Kyle. Kate has been my favorite character in Mezuo Kyle, and you guys did not meet her. There might have been a tease of her existence. That's cool. That's really cool. David just shared something with me. It's really neat. I can't share it with you guys, but yeah. So she might have killed something. She might have been teased in episode 2 or something like that. Because I know there's a like a string of breadcrumbs that lead up to her appearance. Not like she's supposed to be some grand reveal like Bone Crusher or something like that, but there's a thing that she's doing, and it was really cool. I just really love her character. There's so many things I loved about her character. If you've seen my reviews for MI, you'll know that Blue is my favorite Dino Tube character. He is such a presence on screen. Oh, thank you very much. And I know of your reviews, and I actually have them saved to my watch later. So I do plan on watching them. I was actually going to watch them on the spot when I first found out about them. I don't know if it was through a comment. I think it was through a comment. You said something on a comment, and then I clicked on your account and went there. But it was much longer of a video than I was anticipating, and I did not have the time at that moment to do it, and I haven't gotten around to doing it yet. But it's in my watch later. Oops, sorry. It's in my watch later, and I will get around to watching them at some point, because you are a very passionate fan of Mezuo Kyle, and I really appreciate that. And I definitely am curious to hear what you think. Saying the Cyberzoic one is a work of art. Oh, so you like that one better? You just got both of them because you're just a big Dilo fan? Yeah, that makes sense. Dilophosaurus is from BOTM is my top pick for beginners to BOTM. It's not crazy expensive while having everything good about the line in one package, in my opinion. It's a good point. It's a really great... You get like so much goodness in one package there. With -1 sequel getting word, if it comes and Godzilla combats another monster, who do you think it deserves to be? I feel given -1's context, Anguirus or Hedorah. I didn't even think of Hedorah, but that's a pretty good pick. I think that this was a rumor and it wasn't actually ever confirmed. There was a rumor fairly quickly after they were announcing that they were going to make another one. This was before he even began like properly writing it, and they were saying that he was going to fight an alien monster. I don't really know how true that was. If that's true, then obviously King Ghidorah seems like an obvious one. I mean, Takashi Yamazaki's already made the Godzilla ride. He's already directed that, and that had a kind of Heisei infused version of Godzilla -1 in there with a King Ghidorah that had fought, and maybe even a Rodan or something like that. I don't remember how many other characters were in that, but Gigan was another one I thought of. I don't know. I don't really want either King Ghidorah or Gigan. Hedorah would be much more interesting, honestly. If there was Hedorah, I'd be down with that. Anguirus, I don't know. I feel like if this is a sequel to that, the story has to come first and foremost, and really has to speak to whatever narrative he's doing. I'm confident that he's going to do that, and I really hope that he's going to knock it out of the fucking park. But I feel like it has to be a monster that can really deeply tie themselves to whatever narrative is going on. And Hedorah can easily be done with that. Like, Hedorah is a very metaphorical creature, and there's a lot of really cool storytelling and narrative things you can do with that character that I think could work in the context of that. Anguirus, I don't think so. I think Anguirus is like, he's a little too similar to Godzilla. I think he'd be kind of treading over old water there, but he's also like, I don't know, he just doesn't have too much of his own to like bring to the table, and I don't really know, like, it just seems it's too similar. I just don't think it's the right way to go. Personally, I would love to see a completely new monster. It would be real. I'm kind of down for either, though. It'd be really cool to see a new interpretation of an old monster, especially Hedorah. I think Hedorah is a character that really deserves to be brought back in, like, under good hands, because like Hedorah is a monster I'm so in love with. He's probably been brought back, and he made his cameo in Final Wars, which is cool, and he had a cool design, but whatever. But I've always been kind of nervous about him being brought back because I feel like he would just get butchered. Because like there's a lot of beauty in what was trying to be told with Hedorah and what he represents, and it's really underappreciated. And I think Takashi Yamazaki could do something really special with that. So that that alone excites me maybe more than a new monster. But a new monster, I'm sure that Takashi Yamazaki could actually engineer it to fit exactly what his narrative is, and we'd get a new monster. So um, that's kind of my take on that. Counter shading would be neat to see on the Spinosaurus, like how sharks have darker upsides and lighter downsides based on where the light comes from. Yeah. That would be really neat. I mean, you even get counter shading on land creatures sometimes, depending on the context and species. But that would also be kind of leaning a little harder into the more aquatic form, and I definitely don't want to encourage Beasts of the Mesozoic to go into the fully aquatic Spinosaurus route because we have a substantial amount of evidence contradicting that. People like to talk about like, oh, there's this and there's that, blah blah blah. I mean, we know that Nizar, is that how you say his first name? Nizar Ibrahim. He has a paper that's coming out this year that's supposed to be updating us on Spinosaurus, and like some changes. And either way, I mean, we've had the oxygen isotopes for Spinosaurus teeth for a long time, and they are not indicative of an aquatic animal. They are indicative of a semi-aquatic animal, and less semi-aquatic than crocodilians. So it doesn't matter how much we keep finding of like, oh, this body shape, we don't really understand this, so this, that. It's like, people need to understand that like we have a very reliable source of evidence that goes back, our entire knowledge of prehistory and paleontology, and we could trace it back and compare and contrast to modern animals. Oxygen isotopes are a very reliable methodology of trying to figure out how aquatic or unaquatic an animal is. And there's also some other things that I think they test in the teeth and whatnot, and they've done that to Spinosaurus' teeth. And and Nizar Ibrahim, like, to be blunt, maybe intentionally or unintentionally skewed the narrative like to be more exciting towards the direction of a fully aquatic animal, because one, it was exciting. He found something that he thought was a new look for the animal, but it also makes them a lot of money. And in some ways, it's kind of smart because he got himself funded to go back 2 times now. And it's hard to get funding for stuff like that. So, of course, it's Spinosaurus. So as long as there's a buzz around Spinosaurus, and especially if it's weird, then you're going to get people interested. What's the next big development and whatnot. So, I can bitch and complain all I want, but technically he got himself some money, so at least he's going back and getting some more. So as long as we get a clearer picture in the end, it's fine. But that's my hot take on that, is that I just don't want to encourage people going further down the aquatic Spinosaurus route when we, in my opinion, should know better at this point. But no, we don't talk about King. Everyone go listen to Shadow of a Titan. There's a really cool violin player on it. That is true. So if you guys haven't listened to my album by Torvis Pax, that's my music name, my music artist name. I haven't talked about it much on here because I haven't really been on here, but I did a little trailer for it. It's a 18-track album. It's called The Ultimate Prey. On my most recent Kiki and Coffee episode, I've linked my link tree in the description. You can go check it out there. It's on anywhere that you listen to your music. The album is Ceratopsian themed. It's actually like a metaphorical telling of my personal life, going through depression and suicidal thoughts, and coming out on top, learning to love myself, and being stronger for it, and being proud to stand up for who I am. It's a personal journey that's told mostly instrumentally, but you can get some of it through there. There's some vocal tracks on there, and it's every track on the album literally transitions into each other. So if you start it and you go through it, it's like an hour and a half of like a full or like hour and 20 minutes of a soundtrack of a movie, and it's like very much inspired by soundtrack style. There's some really interesting stuff on there, and yeah, I think that a lot of you guys might enjoy it. It's worth giving it a shot. I have a lot of really great artists that are on there with me. On Shadow of a Titan, Spino Dude is on it. He plays the violin, he plays his acoustic guitar, and he sings on it. He's got a beautiful voice, and I really love his performance on that. We have Gibson Kite, aka Bionicle Saurus, that's on drums and piano and vocals on Heyday of Reptiles. And we have a bunch of my friends make cameos on Heard Warning, like have little vocal cameos. And then we have Gibson Kite, his mother and father, who are also in the band that he's in called the Whole Oblivion Army. They make his mother makes an appearance as the vocalist on Blue Medusa, and his father makes an appearance on the Odyssey of an Odyssey of Teeth and Torpor, where he plays guitar. And so there's a lot of really cool stuff that goes on there. I'd really highly recommend checking it out. And I'd love to hear what you guys think. If it's not your cup of tea, then that's cool too. But at least you gave it a shot. I'd appreciate it. What is missing from Mesozoic Isle episode 3? SFX or narration? Narration and sound effects. I've mostly edited all the footage together. There's a little bit of the last few scenes. I had to do them in order a little bit. But the sound effects take so much time. And I'm just like, it's so difficult for me to reduce how many sound effects I put inside of it. Because like it takes like, I don't know. It's like once I've gotten to a certain point of quality where I have so many sound effects that just really makes it immersive. It's hard to peel it back, because then it just feels empty to me. So I kind of like have to like do that. I'd have to somehow learn and train myself to get better at like being okay with less sound effects. And I'm sure I could get a little better at that. Let me try to catch up with the chat, Scrubwood Studios, and I might have some time to comment more on the editing process of Mesozoic Isle episode 3 and whatnot, because I know you're very curious about that. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot about Torvus Pax. I hope that doesn't come off as negative. Listened to the whole thing for the first time on a bus back from London in October. Very good, I must say. Well, it came out in early November, so it had to have been in November when you listened to it. But I'm glad you listened to the whole thing. And I'm appreciative that you like it. Do you have a favorite track or anything that stands out if you remember? I know it's been a while. You've only listened to it once. Kate is a character I wish we got to see. I also wish you got to see it. I seem to remember that there were some carcasses at the end of episode 1. Could be from Kate. And at the end of episode 1? Oh, and the little teaser. Yeah. There's a little teaser that like hinted at what was to come. Yeah, actually, I think you're right. I think Kate did show up there. Just going off the top of my head, my personal favorite is Heyday Reptile. Oh, okay, he already answered. Yeah, Heyday of Reptiles is good. That's a really good one. I'm really proud of that one. That one is a contender for my favorite off of that album too. I also really love Shield Dance and the title track. I'm really proud of the title track. The title track might not be everybody's cup of tea because it's like 10-minute behemoth of a crescendo to the entire album. But I'm really proud of that one. I think it's cool. And Shield Dance is another one I really love. I love all of the ones with with featured artists on them. They all like just hit my moods or hit my feels like in different ways. They're all very deeply personal songs. I'm not the best at reviews, but I hope you find my opinions interesting. That's all you got to do, man. That's all you got to do to make a review. Just have interesting opinions. Just hit the mic again. Don't sit there and just record a video of you saying the same bullshit on loop over and over again and just mindlessly, positively praise everything and just regurgitate content almost every goddamn day that is meaningless and adds no personal value or variation to the quality of the thing that you are reviewing. Because when people watch a review, they're not just wanting... I mean, you might be an interesting resource for somebody if they want to see a figure get spun around, but if they want to watch a review is an opinionated piece. I'm not criticizing you, by the way, Scrubwood. I'm like kind of making a jab at some creators that I know that don't do that because I think it's lazy. And there's like this. I'm gonna call out this one guy in particular. This is like it's kind of been fairly publicized, but there's this guy named Diego Doom. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's like a creator that's kind of big. He used to do a bunch of SH Monster Arts Godzilla reviews, and he had the most irritating repetition to his formula. It was always hey, welcome back to another SH Monster Arts Godzilla review. This thing's sculpt is absolutely fantastic. The paint job is absolutely fantastic. this thing looks exactly the same way in all of my opinions of all the other, like, it's just repeated regurgitated crap. Like he said, absolutely fantastic all the time, and it meant nothing. I wasn't getting an opinion from it at all. It's like at this point, just mute the goddamn video and just like look at the footage of it. And I don't respect content like that. I'm sorry. Like I can respect it up to an extent, but I don't respect it as a review at all. And my jab is a roundabout way of basically saying, like, if you're sharing your actual opinions, you're doing your job. Good job. That's what people go to a review for. So be yourself, share your opinion, and you're doing a great job. Any opinions on the PNSO Tyranno Titan? I own it. I resisted getting so many of the Carcharodontosaurids because they look so samey, and I didn't want to just have a bunch of them just on my shelf. But it's so blurry, it makes sense if you can't see it. But he's right here. It looks phenomenal. I love it. It's like maybe my favorite PNSO figure I've ever had. I like it better than the Giganotosaurus. It's gorgeous. The colors are so cool. They're vibrant, but also kind of like natural in tone, and it just looks magnificent. I do not often praise PNSO. PNSO is a company that makes a lot of duds, a lot of figures that are pretty good but have something weird or cursed about them, and then occasionally they just have gems. And that's definitely one of the gems. And that's why I even semi-loosely pay attention to, and by that I mean, like, I technically, like, if a PNSO post pops up, because I don't follow them on Instagram anymore because their Instagram account is like, oh my god, it's so like filled with a bunch of bullshit I don't have any interest in. It's like that fucking Giganotosaurus box with just all this like paper nonsense I don't need. It's just like a bunch of crap that I'm not interested in. I was actually making fun of it the other day. I was with my friends on Discord and scrolling through Instagram, and like I went on their page, and like you see one post of a figure, and then I literally am scrolling like nonstop for like 5 to 8, maybe 15 seconds. Like, that's how long I'm genuinely scrolling before I hit another post about a figure. And then I keep scrolling more, and it's like the same, it's nonsensical. It's ridiculous. So I don't follow them on Instagram anymore. But occasionally things will pop up, or I'll hear about it, and I'll be like, all right, I'll tune in, just see if it is. Like, see if I hear positive things about something, then I'll tune in for it. But yeah, that's Tyranno Titan. Magnifique. I have yet to watch every Godzilla movie Gigan is in because of that that I associate him with his MIV version of the actual films. That's funny. Hey Eric. I mean, what's wrong with that? He's only in a couple. He's in Godzilla vs. Gigan. That's where he makes his debut, and then he's in Godzilla vs. Megalon. He's like kind of like Megalon's sidekick in that one, or like their buddy bros. And then he's in Godzilla Final Wars, and that's it. I'm waiting for the new Spinosaurus paper. Further studies did show super dense bones in Spinosaurus and Baryonyx, which are both very closely related to Spinosauridae, closely related within Spinosauridae. We don't have a tail for Baryonyx yet, which is interesting, but Suchomimus has very less dense bones. I just accept we don't know yet, and we need to wait for more material. Yeah, I mean, that's, in general, Spinosaurus with something so fragmentary. That is the best call. I never knew you went through all that. Yikes. Oh, you mean my personal? Yeah. I've talked about it occasionally, scarcely on the channel, but yeah. I fully agree that sound effects are by far the most tedious part of editing something like MI or PV. My solution is just to do a bit each day. Everything else I can usually do within a day. I see it now, the Tyranno Titan. The colors are often very well blended. Rate the current weather out of 10. I'd rate rate it a 7. Oh shit! I missed it, David. Damn. You almost got me to do it though. I looked over and then I saw 70 minutes and I was like, oh, too late. Uh, but I would rate it a 7, Eric. Because it's pretty nice out. It's actually pretty clear skies. There's just a few sparse clouds, but it's not really bright. It's not super bright to the point where being obnoxious. So I kind of like it. It's kind of nice out. Mission failed. We'll get it next time. All right. Although our questions are dying down. On the whole Spinosaurus issue, I know Darren Naish actually argued against the aquatic hypothesis when it first came out, saying the tail could have actually been a display feature like newts. Yeah, I mean, like any kind of feature, there's so many different reasons that something could come about. It's not always a cut and dry thing, right? Especially something like that, where you have so many different animals that have structures like that for different reasons. That makes so much sense, Eric. Also, Gigan showed up in Zone Fighter. Got that Showa combo by Godzilla and Zone Fighter. Also appears in some shorts. That's true. I guess he is in that like short Gigan film, like Gigan Rex or whatever. And I was considering just Godzilla official content, but or like Godzilla, whereas is the primary name. Honestly, I'm more curious about finding a Baryonyx tail right now. LOL. Yeah, I didn't really know that we didn't have a Baryonyx tail. It has the fish tail. We could study both of them to get a more complete reasoning for the tails. Yeah, because like Baryonyx doesn't have the sail on its back either, so. I don't get the reference with that, Scrubwood, but Koolasuchus and a newt are not the same. You don't know him. Will you be buying any of the Cyberzoic non-dinosaur products? Oh, I get what you mean. So I got the Dryptosaurus. I tried to resist getting that one, but it looks so cool. I got the Dryptosaurus and its armor because its armor looks so badass. I love the armor. Who says he doesn't have a waterproof phone? Scrubbing that. I think that's the only known dinosaur thing. Oh, I'm getting the Arctic Dragon. I did get that. That's the last thing I pre-ordered from that. Actually, just did it a little bit ago. Actually, like a week ago, I pre-ordered it. I kept trying to resist it, but I really want it. He's gonna go up on top of my fridge right there. I don't think anything else is planned at the moment. I'm kind of interested in Dragolina and her armor for her mount, but we'll see. That's a picture of the Collecta Koolasuchus. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you. While we're on that topic, opinions on the Collecta Koolasuchus. I know I had opinions on that motherfucker when I first saw him. I haven't seen it in a long time. Let's see. Let's remind myself. Oh god, he's so hideous. Okay, he looks substantially better in the in-hand images, but god damn, these fucking the way his face looks on the promo pictures. This had to have been back when in like 2022 when they announced this, huh? had to be in 2023 release or something, because I remember looking at this when I was on a walk, and I was in Colorado visiting my grandparents. My grandmother was like on her deathbed. She ended up making it out of that. She passed away late last year. She made it another almost 2 years. But I remember looking at this then. I think I have like vivid memories of like thinking about it. So I think it was like 2023. Yeah, okay. It looks like I'm correct. I have the Kula. It's a really cool. I completely forgot you had the Kula, but it makes sense. I feel like you did kind of defend it against some of the ridicule within our friend group. I don't know. I'm uninterested in it, but it's got some neat detail, it looks like, on that in-hand image I saw of it. He definitely looks like something I wouldn't want to, like, step off the toilet and look down and see. I'll probably only stick to the dinosaurs' prehistoric animals, but I agree the Dryptosaurus and its armor is unreasonably badass. I know, right? One thing me and Gib were talking about last night, imagine Spino was never found back in the 1900s, so previous to 2014, our knowledge of Spinosaurus is mostly just Barry and Suko. That would be pretty funny. At that point, we might have just grabbed the tail and just, like, inferred it onto Baryonyx, honestly. People would have freaked out when Spino was found. Like, what the fuck is this thing? Yeah. 2023, I believe. Oh, no. I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, God. That reminds me of when I thought Koolasuchus was a dinosaur. Ever since the Sorfagnex incident, I have mentally prepared myself for Spinosaurus to become a chimera. I mean, it kind of already is. It's at least maybe a chimera of like multiple individuals. But like, to be honest, I get where you're coming from. I wouldn't be that worried. Like, listen, people who were humoring the Sorfagnex thing from the beginning, there are a lot of people that are not stupid or anything like that. There's a lot of people that just were either misinformed, they're caught up in the hype, or they're really excited about the idea of a bigger Allosauroid than Allosaurus in the Morrison formation, or they like its name, or whatever reason. But the fact is, for like ever since its existence, there's not been good evidence supporting the existence of this big thing. It's been like bullshit from the beginning. I've always been a avid hater of Sorfagnex on this channel. Maybe a little too harshly than is deserved. But to me, it was always clear it was just stupid. Like, because at most they could say, like, oh, this kind of looks like it's part of an Allosaurus, so it's a new gene. It's like, shut up. It's not a new gene. If you have 3 bones and it looks like Allosaurus, then you call it Allosaurus. That's what you do. And that's where the consensus was for like so long. But it's like, oh, it looks a little bigger. Okay. And also, 1, it looks a little bigger, and 2, it's like, it's still like just a couple bones. Like, how are you gonna like confidently scale up something from just a couple bones? But yeah, I was interested. I knew that someday we were gonna get a takedown of Sorfagnex. I knew it in my heart. I knew that it was going to happen eventually, that we were going to get something that came out and fully dismantled Sorfagnex. I did not expect it to be so thoroughly humiliating, though. Like, for it to be, like, 3 completely different animals, potentially. Like, a part of an Allosaurus, and 2 sauropods? Like, that's embarrassing. That's what happens when ego gets too involved in science. And it happens all the time. It's not just in paleontology. People are people. It happens. But there was just too much of a overreach on Sorfagnex. So it was doomed from the beginning. And Spinosaurus is not even remotely in the same boat. It has so much more to back up its authenticity, so much more credible connection between its material. Um, I wouldn't worry about it. It's not going to be the same thing. Um, Speaking of Collecta, I am so hyped for that Sea Scorpion. Should be arriving any day from. Oh yeah, that Sea Scorpion does look cool. I personally really like the Coolosuchus, but that might just be a Temnospondal bias. I mean, that's not a bad bias. They're pretty cool. Um, the last thing I bought from Collecta was the Caburamus. Very late to the party on that one, but I'm glad I own it nonetheless. That one was always one I kind of had a soft spot for. I never ended up getting it, and now I'm not really in the market for those bigger pterosaurs, but it's still very cool. The YouTube inspiration AI told me to analyze the paleo accuracy of Spoonus, a meme me and Majungasaurus productions formed on a stream of his. I love life so much. Okay, let's go AI, I guess. I am so sorry for your loss, Aiden. My prayers and condolences go out to you. That really sucks. I'm sorry. I appreciate your sympathy. I yeah. It was it's been a rolling transition because she was in such a bad way for so long that I knew it was going to come. So even when it happened, it didn't hit me as hard as it felt like it should have because she was already so far gone. You know, she was barely there. So it wasn't as hard on me as it could have been. There's moments where it really hits me, though. I appreciate you, though. I was always 50-50 on Sorphagnix being Aloe or its own thing. It being Chimera actually caught me off guard. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be that disrupted. Like Perucetus, as soon as it was published, I was like, this thing is so fragmentary. I'm sure new species will come out downscaling it. Yeah. But in hindsight, it makes sense. It suddenly dawned on me that the other day that I hadn't bought a plastic dinosaur for 9 months. Well, I mean, you don't always need to be buying plastic in order to be happy, you know? Perucetus on that downsized speed run. Perucetus got on that Planet Fitness grind. What is it? What are you guys are just like dogging on Perucetus? I don't even know if it sounds like it's a whale, obviously, but I don't know if I'm really familiar with this one. Oh no. 2023. Okay, so it doesn't look immediately obvious whether or not the downscaling has hit it yet, but you guys are anticipating it, which makes sense. It was that whale that was apparently was the biggest known animal at one point. Got you. Too busy on the living dinosaurs and photographing device. Yeah, understandable, dude. All right, yeah. Still got 10 people watching. There's already new estimations for it somewhere. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want to keep the live stream running for too long. I'm already feeling very exhausted too. So I might just like try and see if you guys have any last questions you guys want to try to usher through. But I felt like there was something I was gonna rope back around to. I'm trying to remember what it was. Appeared on Yorkshire Radio. Dinosaur Park, the place I brought up earlier, Bastrop, Texas, has a giant long walking path with a bunch of dinosaur and prehistoric statues scattered throughout. Ah, I got you. The study describing it claimed it was more massive than a blue whale. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Is it really just that one bone that I saw in that picture of them like lifting up on like a hoist thing? Um, every time people bring up fragmentary animals, I think of Soranops. That name sounds familiar. I don't remember what that one is though. Monster Hunter Wilds, anyone? You got a couple Monster Hunter Wilds players in here, I think. I'm not one of them, but have you seen Spider-Man No Way Home? And if so, what were your thoughts? It was better than Far From Home, but that's a pitiful bar to step over. It's like a crease in a doorway. Um, it was all right. At least they did kind of give Peter an arc and a story for himself. But that movie was so reliant on fan service and legacy characters that I I don't know. I don't really feel like it stands on its own enough. And I don't even with that stuff, I don't really think that movie was as compelling. It was kind of like Spider-Man light. Like it had some good stuff in there, but it was all like watered down in comparison to like the stuff before. You know, losing loved ones, ooh, are we gonna save the girl? Redemption arc for another Spider-Man or whatever. Emotional, don't kill the bad guy Spider-Man. Like it all just felt really light in comparison. It's a lot of people like it, but a lot of people are. I was gonna be very mean. I was gonna say just a lot of people are stupid. But what I mean is like a lot of people just don't really. They don't have like they're not expecting a lot. Like you can please a lot of people fairly easily, and that's fine. Whatever. Some people just want to be entertained. They just like seeing their legacy characters, and they're happy enough. That's whatever. People can have that opinion. It's fine. I'm not even remotely subscribed to that point of view, but everybody has their own take on it. Yes, Sarnops. If I had a nickel for every time a super fragmentary theropod was named after a Hollywood villain, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that I have to. What is it named after? Is it named after like the Eye of Sauron? The main competition of every large prehistoric animal. I don't even know what the fuck that is. It is a still really interesting animal though. It got really dense bones like a manatee, and it's still really big. Here are a few fellow. Here, fellow. Your thoughts on Sarfaganax were more or less how I reacted when I first heard of Brachiosaurus. Okay, you guys are pulling out names I have not even heard of. If MI never gets completed as a show, would it potentially write it as a novel of some kind? I think Spider Dude suggested doing this for Toa. I don't think Spider Dude's doing that. But I think he maybe talked about doing it. I think the only person who really, really properly humored that idea was Bioniclesaurus with the final season of Dinosaur Island, and I'm not going to speak for him, but I'm going to speak for him. I don't think that's happening. It might, but at the current time, I don't think it's happening. No. Let's put it that way. Mesozoic Isle might still have a life with me, but it might take on a completely new form. It might be something I do in the future, completely different type of form of media or something like that. I don't know what form it could take, but I think it's something. It's an idea that I still love the concept of, and there's a lot about it that I still really relate to. But it's I guess that is a different form of media, so I guess that kind of would. But I don't think it would be turned into writing. I have someone. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Is the standard every large animal must be harshly judged against? What the fuck is this thing? It almost sounds like a bug or something. Oh, okay. I don't know why the Terra part made me think of bug. But yes, this definitely non-extant creature is a great margin. Um, I agree. I think the film was great myself, but I think what made the film work was mainly the return of the retro characters. Yeah, I think Soronov's. I think the Family Guy cutaway of Soron missing his icon or context list. I wrote a bit of it, but never had time to finish it. Oh, you actually did write a bit of it? I didn't remember that. I didn't say he was. He mentioned, but he mentioned it once. I think. Yeah, I mean, I know that you were just talking about that. I just wanted to like, burst your bubble before it got too big. Um, Thoughts on the new 2025 Collecta Forest Rocco? So I think I've seen that one, and I think I thought it was decent to okay. I don't remember. Hope you've been well as of recent, by the way. Thank you. I remember when whatever an article called it 5 times bigger than a T-Rex while showing a picture of a rip-off Nanmu and Thomas. Oh, you gotta love the media. This talk is making me think about my own series I plan to finally start filming this year. It's been in the back of my mind pretty much since ever started YouTube in 2020. Sorry if I was so unresponsive or whatever earlier. I was very busy at the time, right? Then I was kind of multitasking right then. In fact, I was actually working out way earlier right then. That's fine. Good on you. Take care of yourself. Do your own thing, dude. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll dig it up so you can read it if you want sometime, Aiden. Yeah, actually, I think I would enjoy that. Brachiosaurus is broken. It was called the largest sauropod. Oh, it was a sauropod. A big and petrified wood. I don't know which one is most accepted in modern. How on fucking earth do you like go between all those and it's still up in the air as to what it is? Like how on earth is that? What the fuck? What the fuck is this? How does it have so many different interpretations? Controversial genus of sauropod. What is the material? Looks like a leg bone. Good hip bones, iliums. Okay. It seems like it does have bones. So at least it's not a tree. That was definitely concerning when that was potentially up in the air. Okay, it was originally classified as a carnosaur, like Allosaurus, an uncertain position. Wait, what? Okay. It was mostly online speculation that made it seem like it was wood. That makes a little more sense. Apparently, Sauroposeidon was first thought to be wood. I'm glad to hear that MI might have some kind of future, even if you don't know what sort. Remains are gone, so no one knows. Oh. Yeah, my dilemma with Mesozoic Isles, I've already kind of publicized, my feelings on it largely, but let's talk about my current view. It would really greatly satisfy me if I got to release that whole thing. One, because it meant a lot to me. There's a lot of people who like it and would want it. Of course, if I released that whole first season, then it would just make people want a second season. It would never end. But at least that season does stand well enough on its own that it could be like a satisfying little conclusion. I put a lot of time and effort into that. I put a lot of love and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that thing. Um, and I filmed it all. Like, all of it's filmed. And I went out there, in the Rocky Mountains and filmed for hours and hours. Went on multiple trips. I went and filmed in my grandparents' garden a bunch. My grandfather went with me, and we put a lot of time and labor into that thing. So it's really difficult to let it go and just not have that conclusion, not have that release of it. Um, it's not an easy thing for me to just give up on, but it genuinely was so. I mean, there was a lot of balanced things in my life at that time with YouTube that were off, and YouTube was not giving back as much as I feel like I deserved for the work I was putting in. Um, that I needed for the work to come in. I needed to focus on my actual life, things that were actually going to get me somewhere. Because Mrs. Oak Isle, sure, it brought in some attention on YouTube, but like, was it actually going to get me a career? Was it actually going to get me, money? Was it actually going to get me any of these other things? Like, it's difficult. And I really love. I prided myself on the quality of that show, and it's because that it makes it really difficult to jump back into that sound editing. And I mean, I got good at doing it pretty quickly and pretty efficiently, but I'm really out of practice now. So if I jump back in, it'd be really difficult to get back on that horse, and it would make it take longer, which would be discouraging. But I also, I'm just gonna be real. Like, I don't know. So much time has passed. I don't know how much pride I'd have over the stuff I released, because if I released it now, there's gonna be so much footage. Even after filming it, there was some footage where I was like, I could have done that better. I could have been happier with this, but I was like, oh, but it'll be out and I can do better on the next season, whatnot. But it's now been like 5, 6 years. So if I'm looking at this footage, I'm gonna feel so uncontent. I'll be not proud to be releasing that content because it's not gonna be up to par as to what I want it to be now. You know what I mean? So there's this like big disconnect with the quality of it. I have thought about it, and one way I could potentially do it is I could go back and actually trim the series down, cut a lot of the fat out. I don't think that I tried to write not much fat, but I could streamline the series even more and make entire characters who have like little mini arcs that aren't that important. I can kind of trim them out and just make them side characters, maybe not even make them have names. And that could maybe help it so that each episode is much shorter, and that the overall, I think it would still have to be 15 episodes because they were written in ways where the episodes like each kind of had their own context and role to fill. So I'm sure I couldn't really reduce the episode count. I definitely wouldn't want to expand the episode count. I think that would inflate the problem. But like if I trimmed out a bunch of stuff, that could maybe happen. But that's gonna take a lot of time. Me sitting down there and like I have some really exciting stuff with my music stuff that's going on right now that I need to put my time into. I need time for myself. I have an actual job I go to and work, 5 days a week at least, and I have like other stuff. I've written an entire script, an entire screenplay that I've finished, and I'm really proud of that. It's currently going through like its final like draft like editing process, and I have other scripts I want to write. And so anytime I take away and put into that, I have to really feel like I have the time for it, and I feel like it's going to be worth it. And so I have some building blocks in there, like some decisions I've made where I'm like, if I go back, I could do it this way or do it that way, and I could maybe make it a lot easier. But it's still just too steep at the moment. And I don't know, maybe that'll change, but I think quite a bit in my life is going to have to change at the moment for me to get that to happen. I'm not saying it won't, but as of right now, it's still not happening. My favorite tree. Gone. Question for my monster hunter people, wild or... Okay. It's for people. I distinctly remember it being pretty much confirmed as a chimera of a big sauropod and an abelisaur, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know either. I can't wait for a sauropod larger than Argentinosaurus to be discovered and everyone immediately calling BS. Well, it's already happened many times, like Patagotitan and stuff like that has been found. No, there still has never been a sauropod found bigger than Argentinosaurus. And what I mean by that is that is the largest individual animal we have of any sauropod that we ever discovered. There are other sauropods that are big, and sometimes, as they usually do, they make incredibly overzealous estimates, and they make them big at first, but then a lot of those are even sometimes just misunderstood, that there's like, oh, these are the upper estimates of what this thing is, or it could be, because it doesn't seem like it's fully grown. So some of those other animals could have maybe grown bigger than Argentinosaurus, but we still haven't found a singular animal that is bigger. Like, we haven't found an individual that's bigger than Argentinosaurus. Um, don't worry about the footage. It's good enough. Trust me. I wish I could, but I'm my own worst critic, and I have to be happy with it myself. Eric Gibson mentioned that he wouldn't be happy if he released the footage for Dinosaur Island Season 5 now. This is the case where perfectionism both is a blessing and a curse. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it has to be perfect, but like, I don't know, we'll see. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's a soft spot. Like, I know that there's a lot of people who really want to see it, but there's nobody who wants it out more than me. But I understand why I can't do it right now for my own health. And for priorities. Thoughts on the new prehistoric animal such as mammal model company Earth Story, who made models? I have never heard of this. They don't look horrible. I mean, they look kind of like old Collecta a little bit. Ooh, never mind. That one doesn't look as pretty. And they look a little rough around the edges, not gonna lie. These in-hand pictures. Yeah, never heard of them before though. I can be really perfectionistic at times. Fair enough. I did say in one review that it would be worth it if I had to wait until I'm an old age pension here until it's released. That's funny. Speaking of Argentinosaurus, thoughts on the new GR toys? How long good Argentinosaurus model? Do you ever plan on buying any if you actually can, since all three are large and expensive? I would love to. It's so big and cool. I almost did try and get it, but its scale is not what I want. I already have my 1/40th scale Diplodocus and Atlasaurus, and I even like considered getting like the 135th Camarasaurus they had. But I just did the math. I did some comparisons, and it would look so wrong. It's like the 135th, even just that 5 numerical difference is such a big difference that it like actually like really makes it stand out, and they don't look as cohesive together. So I decided not to do that, but also like, yeah, Argentinosaurus would still be like too big. I really like having all the sauropods like kind of in scale with each other, and yeah, it's just really expensive, and I don't know. I just can't afford it right now, anyways. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I'm getting really tired, and I don't feel the best at the moment. Hey, Blobfish. But I appreciate you guys all jumping in. Would you ever let someone else help you edit MI, or would they need too much guidance? Probably need too much guidance, but also like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of my thing too. Like, I'd rather do it myself if I'm gonna put that time into it. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. I don't know. It's something I haven't really humored much. This may be a hot take, but I think that Cascade, while too open-ended to be a perfect finale for obvious reasons, is a good finale for DI. Yeah, I think so too. It's got a nice crescendo to it. Thoughts on the new prehistoric animal companies, Jared Toys, aka how long good it being so. I plan to go live again soon. I don't know when, but uh, How Long Good has some cool stuff. I'm not really a huge fan of their style all the time. I have um I have their Triceratops right over there, and I have the Pseudoceratops and Pentaceratops down there. You can't really see them because of the little plant, but I also think the camera's the wrong angle. But yeah, I'm wiped, guys. I need to get off and get some rest. But thank you guys for hanging out. I really appreciate you guys all coming out and asking questions and hanging out. Bear Team should release a 1-to-1 skill RPG first. I don't see how this could go wrong. Yeah, that's a good idea. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, and I will definitely be on to live stream again sometime soon. I'm gonna try and get a Kiki and Coffee episode out next Monday as well, so we can kind of keep a fairly regular schedule. I don't know how consistent it'll be. Maybe I'll have to skip a week every once in a while. Maybe the live streams can fill out those gaps. But I just really want to get back into the swing of things. So even if it's not on exactly the same day, I want to try and get a video out every week. Let's see. Thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Deadpool and Wolverine. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was great. It's my least favorite of the Guardians movies, but I really like it. It's good. Deadpool and Wolverine was pleasantly surprising. I'm very happy with it. Yeah. Also, I mean, maybe my second favorite of the Deadpool movies. Still love Deadpool 2 the most, though. Anyways, thank you guys. And I will see and hear from you guys all very soon. All right.